Julia Bell, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to do some poems from a memoir that I'm writing in verse. And as some of you know, you've probably heard me reading before, I had quite a strange upbringing as the daughter of a very evangelical preacher. So this is from a collection that's called Hymnal, and I'm just going to read a few of the pieces. This one's called The Visiting Speaker, and quite a lot of the time we just have people randomly staying in the house come to visit who'd be preaching or speaking. And in this kind of channeling my mother, but I'm also thinking about the Bible verse about Mary and Martha, where Martha got pissed off because she had to be in the kitchen making food while her sister got to go and hang out with Jesus. So this is called The Visiting Speaker. Typical. The minute there's a man about the house, she's off, leaving me to get on with the gutting of fish, the buttering of bread, sitting there, simpering, playing with her beads in that idle, flirty way that makes her look cheap. 5 loaves and fishes and then some piled on the table. There's at least 50 people coming. It will take a miracle to get this done in time. And all she cares about is boys, 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 turned into a simpleton the minute they arrived. Our hands butterflied across the table, slicing, dicing, picking bones, tossing salads, while we debated the various defences of Kierkegaard and the finer points of the theories of mind. And then when he arrived, she emptied like a drain, quite the coquette, while I sit here steaming Pollock, getting grease stains on my blouse. So many exceptions. Peter, who's vegetarian. Matthew, the wheat intolerant. Mark, who can't stand fish. Wet drips together dripping, especially him. When I went out to complain, all he could say was that there were more important things than cooking, in that kind of hippie, dreamy way that she believes is a substitute for thinking. See here, he said, picking a flower. Consider the lilies of the field. And she lay next to him, giggling, rococo, as if posing for a Titian. God, that made me mad. Here I am up to my eyeballs in dishes, and all she can think about is sex. What good are flowers when the clock is ticking on the Sunday roast? He's no idea what it's like, pulled every which way. Clean this, cook that, where's my clean shirt? He might have time for stargazing, but me, I have to keep the carrots from boiling over. A martyr, don't be soft. I'm losing my mind in here. Okay. And then as you can imagine, I had quite a sheltered childhood. I didn't get to go out very much, but I did get to go, I know, poor me, I did get to go on a very memorable trip to France on the French exchange when I was 13, and this is a poem about that. Of course, we go to Brest, the only kind of foreign suitable for a preacher's daughter. Je m'appelle, comment allez-vous? I slide my tongue inside the language, thinking it will make me glamorous, like red wine and cigarettes. Here, the supermarket, as big as sidings. There is Nutella, Gaulois, a whiff of sex, the vinegar of table wine. Old ladies show their lace. Cheese smells like socks, and there are snails. In the French house with the French people, the house is foggy with Gitanes and the arms of the French father, who, after fighting with his wife, cuts the lawn in a thunderstorm. I watch him from the bedroom window, churning grass to silage, swearing blue merde, electricity simmering in the foreign air. In the morning, I have my ears pierced. In the market in Quimper, 2 golden studs gleam all the way home, my souvenir, my Jezebel ears. Well, this is quite new. This one's about, my dad sort of had pretensions, because we had lots of outbuildings, to be a bit of a farmer. And when we lived in Aberaeron, So it was in the West Wales coast. He decided it would be great for us to sort of have a lamb, and it was a black lamb, which of course grew into a sheep. This is called Black Sheep. We fed him in a pen by the vegetable patch, fed him a bottle's teat through the chicken wire. Not knowing any better, we called him Sambo, and we loved him in the way that it is possible to love all mute things, fiercely for a while, and then resentfully, because he could not tell us about his suffering. Defiantly, he grew larger, curious, refused to be cute, escaped into the garden and ate my mother's roses, was found wandering down the lane, stopping traffic, pulling up flower beds with his teeth. We hated him now, because he was moronic, sheep, some strange part of us, too big to pet. The farm came back to claim him, herded him into the truck, while we stayed inside, the curtains shut, playing tyrant to our teddy bears. This next one is about the story of Lot's wife. If you remember, she got turned into a pillar of salt for looking back at Sodom and Gomorrah. And this is my version of that story. So I left it burning, escaped only just as the timbers fell behind me across the threshold. You know the sort of scene, you saw it on TV, apocalypse, Armageddon, the kind of thing beloved of teenage boys because of all the explosions and grotesque decapitations, and because no one you like ever really dies. I could feel the heat against my back, all the way up the mountain, a long climb and difficult in the dark with the children clinging to my ankles, the dead weight of all of my possessions. I looked because I wanted to be amazed at how quickly my old life could be turned to ruin. To catch my breath, take a sip of water. The others had hardly run on ahead. I was made slow with all that I was carrying. Perhaps I was frozen too by the size of the disaster. A whole city burning, turning the sky into a late Monet, the blind man's lurid colours, beautiful in the way that transformations have of provoking wonder. At first I thought it was the tears that I could taste, or sweat, dehydration from all the running, but then my legs began to go. Salt is a funny thing to be turning into. Why not stone or gold or malachite? So here I am, traveller. Watch and learn. Disaster stalks the unwary at every turn. The trick is to keep moving forward while you still can. Just a couple more. This one is a story about when another kind of travelling was such an amazing experience. So my father led trips to the Holy Land, and I got to go with him in 1987. And this is a true story. This is even before we got there. This was us travelling. It's called Departure Gate. And it's from a sequence called Crusaders, which is about that trip. Such a long way, all the way from Wales to the cheapest car park at Gatwick, and the way is dark, and my mother's sandwiches curdling in the tin foil. I carry them through the airport, a ham and cheese defence against anxiety, which, being thrifty, we cannot bear to throw away. I, who have been no further than France, am suddenly international, jet set, and usually I am too excited to eat. By the time we reach departures, the bag is heavy as albatross, my palm welted where the plastic digs, not thinking that it will matter. In fact, not thinking at all, I push them under a plastic bucket seat and burden myself of my mother. We board the plane. This being the Holy Land, we are checked and double-checked. I have a dim awareness of the news, of hostages, planes in foreign airports, people shot. But this won't happen here, on this kosher airline with Mrs. Morgan and the choir master and my favourite aunt, and at the back smoking the singular Arab few, who look as if they've had their pockets turned inside out. We are late and getting later. The air conditioning whines. The stewardess returns, the pendulum of our sandwiches swinging from her finger. These, she says, looking weary, have caused a bomb scare. I slide down the seat next to my father, who's flicking through the church Times. I do not raise my hand. Okay, yeah, okay, I've got two more. This one's about the trip to Israel, and then I'm going to finish with the Churchill poem. This is called Fishers of Men, and this is what happened on the part of the trip where we were in Galilee. They have gone to Galilee to think about fishermen. I lie in the white hotel, floating on my own nausea, hallucinating in front of the TV. They are showing Dallas. I know about it because they talk of it at school. I think that watching it might make me cool, except that now the picture spins before my eyes with Arabic subtitles dubbed in Hebrew. Every now and then I bob to the bathroom to throw up, and the fabric of the world ripples as if I had just put my finger to the surface of a still pond. It is possible to believe that I am underwater, swimming, waiting to be caught. At one point, I see J.R. Ewing has a fishhook in his cheek, my father dragging him off screen, stage right. On the bus, they'll be singing songs about the light. And then this is the last one. This is about, my dad thought that it would be a really good idea when I was 15 to send me to the graveyard in Hen Venue, which is up on the top of a rather windswept cliff, on my own, to catalogue all the gravestones. That was, he was going to pay me to do that for my summer job. And having kind of slight Gothic tendencies anyway, I mean, you know, but yeah, this is what happened. It's called Hen Venue Churchyard. He drives away, leaving me, 15, alone, afraid. The car drawls past, but does not stop. A sense of dread pervades. Pausing at the lich gate, I cross myself, set my Walkman loud, my task to record the names of all the folk that lie around. The broken teeth of gravestones, lichen, weeds, shaking poplars, the razor call of swallows, yew trees. Every now and then a posy, a plastic rose, a visit by some relative, perhaps Americans, nostalgic for home. Antique enlisting, his Dr. Pugh, the weathered wives of Farmer Jones, Eliza Williams and all her children perished in a fire in 1872. Meadowed in the corner, the unmarked plots, tinkers, vagrants, thieves, where once was found a leather boot with a leg still lying inside. By lunchtime I'm bored, and Paul Simon pulls. The sun is hot, the day is blue, around me life calls, the chemistry of summer, the fizzing heat of bees. I try the door, but the church is locked, a sulk of stone and glass, last week's service sheet, chopping in the breeze. I sit on Ebenezer Williams, drink a can of pop, suck a humbug and wonder at the congregation that worship at this lost and lonely spot. Afterwards, my sugared blood runs high in the long grass, and dancing, I lift up my top. See ye my tits, you dead. I'm alive. Thank you very much.